Mukoma wako uchamuponda, uchimupondera nyaya yebato. Mukoma wako uchamuponda wana, uchimupondera nyaya yenyika. Hanzvadzi yako wakairova, uchirovera nyaya yebato. Sisi wako wakavarova, uchivarovera nyaya yebato. Baba wakavatsinga, uchivatsingira nyaya yebato. Mwana wako wakamutuka, uchimutukira nyaya yenyika. Ndiyo ere Zimbabwe, 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 amaiwe Zimbabwe, ndiyo ere Zimbabwe, amaiwe Zimbabwe. Bazao makadzikisa, muchidzidzisira nyaya yebato. Chikafu munovanyima, muchivanyimira nyaya yebato. Minda yavo makaitora, muchiitorera nyaya yebato. Ndiyo ere Zimbabwe, ndiyo ere Zimbabwe, ndiyo ere Zimbabwe, ndiyo ere Zimbabwe. Padare, Zimbabwe, Padare, Zimbabwe, Padare, Zimbabwe, amaiwe Zimbabwe, Padare, Zimbabwe, amaiwe Zimbabwe. Mukoma wako wakamuponda, uchimupondera nyaya yebato. Mukoma wako uchamurova, uchimurovera nyaya yenyika. Mombe dzake uchadzitora, uchidzitorera nyaya yebato. Vanhu makavarova, uchivarovera nyaya yebato.
Good morning, good afternoon, Zimbabweans. Thank you so much for joining, depending on where you are. Welcome to your favorite program, Padare na Mambo Sose, and of course, on your favorite radio station, Change Radio, bringing you current affairs. And of course, you know that for the past 4 years, we have been giving you updates on the current situation in Zimbabwe, including news in 5 languages. And today, we are bringing you a live production of Change Radio as we talk to one of our heroes, unspoken heroes, Madzorera. You know him, one of the victims of Robert Mugabe and also Emerson Mnangagwa. And we are speaking to him about his book, but we are going to go beyond the book that he is publishing and also talk about his experiences, how he lived when he was at Chikurubi. Remember, he was there for more than 7 years. So just sit back and relax as we talk to Mr. Tunga Madzorera. My partner in crime, Barbara from the United Kingdom. Thank you so much, Barbara. I know that there is a lot happening away from the madness of our politics in Zimbabwe. We continue to talk about things that empower Zimbabweans, giving information to Zimbabweans and also giving Zimbabweans time to reflect on other things other than the madness that we continue to see. Over to you, Barbara.
Anzi far from the madding crowd. Wakariwerengere bhukini. Yebo lingabe latshona njani lavuka njani umqhakazo omuhle sesiphendukele njalo ku-Change Radio umsakazo wabantu. You read that book ka? Yes. Siyahlangana njalo bakwethu ku-Change Radio umsakazo wenu umsakazo wabantu umsakazo welizwe lonke siphenduka njalo kuhlelo lethu ebuya le ndaba eyamaqhawe amaqhawe angakhulunywa ngawo kakhulu kodwa thina siwazi engamaqhawe abantu abalwela inkululeko lokhu belwela inkululeko babotshelwa inkululeko baphuma belokho beqonde nta njengosolobhone kabazange batsheshe kumbe babuyele emuva. Namhla sikhuluma ngoTunga Madzorera yena owayebotshiwe siyathemba sonke siyasazi istory anzi yangelithi Glenview 2021 yena not 23 kweze bebotshwe babe eseGlenview kuthiwa bethelwa icala lokubulala ipholisa bona bengazange belibulale. So namhla sesiphendukile ukuthi sizwe ukuthi from isikhathi aphuma khona ejele up to namhlanje kuyini asekwenzile kumbe kuyini akwenzayo, sifundo bani asifundayo ejele kumbe siphatho bani ayesiphathwa eseChikurubi lapho ababebotshiwe besetheswa icala abangazange belidale. Uhulumende lo kaMnangagwa simaziyo vele ukuthi ukhona ukuthi athulise uZulu oyabe khuluma ngezinto ezimbi azenzayo. Yebo sisakaza live ku Change Radio umsakazo ngokwawo, Change Radio YouTube, Change Radio Facebook, Change Radio X Space la ku ZimEye. Hlalani ke lilalele indaba esiliphathele zona. Siyabonga. Over to you, Chief Sos.
Thank you, Barbara, and my brother and champion and comrade Tunga Madzorera. We welcome you to the program, and we want to give you an opportunity to speak to the people and greet our viewers and listeners across the world, and to everyone who is here. Please do share this video with as many people as possible so that we can hear what Champion Tunga has for us. Please take a moment to greet our viewers and listeners. And if you can, I know it's a very difficult and maybe painful moment. If you can also reflect on the many years that you spent in jail, just let the people know here what you went through, how it is to be at Chikurubi maximum prison.
Yeah, thank you, Champion Sose. Greetings, viewers and listeners. My name is Tunga Madzorera, an ex-prisoner who is currently studying for a Master of Science in Peace, Leadership and Governance, as well as a postgrad certificate in local governance. In fact, when I was at Chikurubi, I managed to write 5 books. And you know, Chikurubi maximum security prison is not home. 8 years of incarceration were very, very painful. And generally, it's worse here in Zimbabwe because the prisons in Zimbabwe cannot afford the basics for prisoners. They cannot afford to provide the welfare of prisoners, including food, clean water, some blankets. Even the prison gates are lice infested. We were very unfortunate just because well-wishers used to provide for us whilst we were in prison, and they were also providing for our families. The well-wishers who are Zimbabweans in abroad and some colleagues here in Zimbabwe, my political colleagues, some relatives and friends, they provided those basics which the prisons could not afford to provide us. Chikurubi maximum security prison, it's an overcrowded place. Even up to today, I heard the situation is not yet improved. In a cell which is supposed to accommodate which is supposed to accommodate a maximum of 14 people, it accommodates 45 people. You can tell from that overcrowding that's why the prison authorities cannot provide basics for the ex-inmates, for inmates.
Wow. Thank you very much. I think you have touched on the 2 questions that we wanted to you to address, who you are and your experiences at Chikurubi maximum prison. It's just unfortunate that some people go to jail now and after 2 years they come back seeing themselves as icons. I'm not going to put you on the spot and ask you about that, but you stayed in jail. Was it 7 years or 8 years?
It was 8 years. 3
8
years
years.
in the remand prison, then we served for 5 years. So it's a total of 8 years.
Okay. Before Barbara asks you question number 3, did you ever, Mr. Madzorera, thought of suing the government so that, because at the end of the day, you were found not guilty, right? Did you think of suing the government for all those years that you spent in jail?
Yeah. Personally, I don't believe in vengeance. But for the purpose of supporting the state, stopping the state from persecuting innocent people, I decided to sue the government and the state. Last week, it was on the 7th of February, we managed to have a pre-trial conference with the state at the AG's office. Unfortunately, the state did not consent to our claims. So I instructed our advocate, Charles Kwaramba, to proceed to High Court to apply for a preliminary hearing on the case. You see, as a Christian, I don't believe in vengeance, as I said, because I believe in the doctrine of giving a cheek and strike on one. But in this case, for the purpose of stopping the state from persecuting innocent people, I have no option. I have to proceed with suing the state.
Wow, thank you for that enlightenment. Over to you, Barbara, the third question.
Okay. Thank you so much, Comrade Madzorera. What would you say about Zimbabwean support when you were incarcerated? Did you feel you were supported enough, or did you feel you were neglected? What is your response on that one?
As I have already said, that we received a lot of support, solidarity support from Zimbabweans, some who are abroad.
Was I
like
audible?
Yeah, they managed to support us and to support even our families. Even if
Am I
you want
audible,
those,
Chief?
You are audible.
Are you hearing me?
I think she's not hearing you.
Go ahead, Comrade Tunga. Go ahead, though. We can hear you.
Yeah, as I have already said, most of our basic needs, including the needs of even our families, were provided by the Zimbabweans in the diaspora and by our political colleagues in Zimbabwe, and friends and relatives. Everything was provided for, because the prison authorities could not afford to provide the basics. As I said before, that the prisons are overcrowded and the authorities cannot afford to provide adequate services to inmates. So we received a lot of support, solidarity support, the moral support, the financial support, the material support. I even managed to start whilst I was in prison because of the support which I was provided by some fellow Zimbabweans, some who are in the UK. There's a group which is called Group 1. I don't know the place, what place it is, and a Reading branch, and some of the members who are in Australia, and some of the members who are in the USA. We received a lot of support. If you can recall those photos of mine and last Mayenga Hama, which were trending in the social media, we looked very smart, more than most of the prison officers, because of the clothing which was provided from well-wishers. Because the prison authorities cannot afford to provide clothing for inmates. What they can afford is lice-infested prison camps. But we were always smart and we were always healthy, because even our medication was attended to. Medicines were brought from home after our families received those from the well wishers.
Wow, thank you so much, Champion. You know, it's good to have people that appreciate what our citizens do, and I'm glad to know that you're one of them. Now let's go to the crust of our discussion today. You're writing books. It looks like you started writing books when you are still in jail, and you also studied, as you said, when you were in jail. What degree did you do when you were in jail? And maybe you can also take time to enlighten people. How did you then write the exams while you're in jail? Maybe you may inspire someone who is listening, who is in jail, that they can actually study. And then also take time to tell us about your latest book.
Okay, thank you. When I was in prison, I acquired a diploma in public relations and client services, and also studied the first 3 parts of my degree program while I was still in incarceration. I was studying for a Bachelor of Science honors in development studies, which I managed to complete when I was released from prison. As I said, I always got support from our colleagues, especially the colleagues from abroad. I managed to complete that degree program when I was released from prison. It was paid by some members who are abroad. So I benefited a lot on the post-prison life rebuilding, on the post-prison life rebuilding process from the well-wishers. You also asked about how I did write exams. The exams, when I was in prison, I was invigilated by some officials from Zimbabwe Open University, as well as prison officers from the security department.
Okay, and then you can go ahead and talk about your book, your latest book.
The one which I am about to officially publish is titled The Hospital and the Prison, and its Shona translation, Padare Nigeria. This book, the aim of this book is to strengthen the hope of prisoners, ex-prisoners, the sick, the ill, and their relatives, friends, and colleagues. I also wrote other books whilst I was in incarceration, and I am going to officially publish them one by one due to some rising costs of publishing. Because so far I was selling them, but they were not yet officially published. So I am now advised that I must officially publish them so that I can get enough I can benefit a lot from the book sales.
Okay, thank you so much, Comrade Madzorera. That's very inspiring. You know, sometimes when we get into such situations, we sometimes maybe regret because you will be thinking good life is not being fair to you, but the fact that you managed to study and to write books, you know, maybe it's God. It was God's plan, even if the ZANU-PF thought they were fixing you, but in a way vakaita zvezvo zvinonzi kukabadachka kuriambudza, because you achieved some things that people who were outside never achieved. And, you know, I found it to be very, very rewarding what you did, Comrade Madzorera. You did a very good thing, and you are such an inspiration to the nation. You are also an inspiration to people who are also maybe incarcerated and who have lost hope. I think your books are going to bring hopes to the people, and maybe when you look into the politics of Zimbabwe, do you feel that Chabangu betrayed the people? Do you feel Chabangu's betrayal?
Yes, of course. Chabangu and some confucianists like him are a thorn in the flesh to Zimbabweans because they have compromised the people's struggle. They have reversed the gains which we had achieved during the struggle. Because now, as you can see, ZANU-PF can now manage to amend the constitution in favor of retaining power on the expense of national development and uplifting the livelihood of people. It's because of Chabangu, because they managed to grab the 2/3 majority in parliament through the back door, through the recalls which were caused by Chabangu.
Yes, that's correct. Wamadzokere, maybe chief asati apinda ndoda kutaura neshona kuti muzofunga kuti chipatara nejeri ndiri kuyeuka tichiri kuZCTU takakompoza rwiyo rwainzi hanzi dzimba mbiri chete dzandakawenga, chipatara nejere. It was a song that we used to sing kuZCTU. Saka imimi kuti muzofunga kuti chipatara nejere, ndoda kuti mutaure muchishona kuti zvinorevei chaizvo chaizvo kuti muti chipatara nejere. What is it chakakupai shungu dzekuti mubude nemazwi aya yokuti chipatara nejere? Chii chamakanga maona?
Chakaitika ndechekuti ndiri mujeri ndakatanga kuona kumborwadza kunomboita jeri, nekuti kunhu kusiri kumba kwagara kunongorwadza. Saka ndakabva ndarangarirawo iwo mazuva acho ataiimba kuti tiri kuZCTU, kuti pane rwiyo rwataiimba rwainzi chipatara nejeri. Saka ndaiona varwere vanga vari muchikurubhi nezvaiitika kwavari, uyezve nekurwadziwa kwataita nejeri. Ndo pandakazofunga kuti regai ndichinyora bhuku rinosimbisa vanhu kuti vange vane tariro kana vari muusungwa kana even vari muurwere. Nenyaya yekuti ndiri kuchikurubhi, ida hangu ndanga ndisingagare kumasales aya anga ine vanhu vakawanda, nekuti ndakapedzisira ndaiswa kumasingle cells kwaigara macondemned prisoner vaiva vanenge vakatongerwa rufu. Saka vazhinji vacho vanhu vaitodzimbikana, vaitorwara, ndaitoona zvaiitika kwavari. Saka yanga iri nyaya yekusimbisa kuti vave netariro yekuti jeri rinokwanisa kupera, uye kurwara kwamuri kuita uku munokwanisa kupora.
Yeah,
Saka ndakazobuda nezita rekuti chipatara nejeri, the hospital and the prison. In fact, mabhuku andakanyora ndiri mujeri ifaifika. Pane rimwe randakanyora rinonzi Unplugged Cables. Iroro bhuku iroro, it unpacks the missing link between the community stakeholders and municipal service delivery. You find kuti kumakanzuru kwedu vanhu vanenge vachingotarisira kuti dai makanzira nevashandi vekanzo vadai, asiwo vanhu futi vemucommunity vane basa ravanokwanisa kuitawo kunge vachiparticipata panyaya yekuita kuti pange paine budiriro munharaunda. We have some community stakeholders like what development committees, local environmental management committees, health center committees, students associations, old students associations, and many other community stakeholders who can also contribute to quality service delivery through the participation, through ownership. that these local authorities are ours, we also have a hand to play to ensure that everyone gets quality service. This is another book which I wrote. And another one is called Swimming in Harsh Waters. It's the chronicles of the Glenview 29. What was happening in the courts of law, and also what was happening in the prisons, of which the last part of the book goes so much on Last Mayenga Hama and myself, because some of our co-accused were released after the close of the state case. They were acquitted earlier. So
Wow.
those are some of the books which I wrote.
Thank you very much, Mr. Madzorera. And among your books, you also wrote a book on local governance. And you are also a former councillor in Glenview. And I'm sure you should be in a very good position to talk about what is happening right now, the current affairs in local governance, because you wrote a book on local governments and you were also a councillor. There is an issue that is going on that breaks my heart when I start talking about it, that people are having their houses demolished in Meborin and many other areas. Some are also being destroyed in peri-urban areas, and it's disheartening because people in Zimbabwe would have suffered for them to build a house. And you, the councillors, ministers, and local government authorities, you see people building the houses. You see them, erecting the structures, and you don't destroy those houses at that stage. You wait until they've finished the developments, and then you send graders, bulldozers to go and raise down those buildings. It's disheartening, and I think it's evil, to say the least. I want to know what you think about what is going on right now, your comments on the Meborin demolitions and any other demolitions that are going on in Zimbabwe. How can we avoid them? And why is it that the people that are involved, whether they are councillors or government officials or council officials, we don't care? Why is it that those people are never brought to book? Your experience and your thoughts.
Okay. Yeah. Generally, housing demolitions are an inhuman act. And it's also a serious violation of Section 28 jointly read with Section 74 of our national constitution, which talks about the right to shelter and also which prevents the arbitrary eviction or demolition of houses without relevant reasons or without a court order. So personally, I am against those housing demolitions and eviction of people from their homes. It's a satanic act, as you have already alluded to. There is that need to strike a balance between providing housing and also enforcing those who occupy land illegally. As you have already said, it is supposed to be done when we are talking of evictions. It's supposed to be done before people erect any permanent structures or invest so much in building houses. Then enforcement must be done before those developments are done. In fact, it is the state and the local authority which is supposed to provide housing to the people. So there must be mechanism to ensure that, due to the challenges of urbanization, local authorities and the central government should provide housing or land for housing to the general citizen. Like on the case of Meborin case, I made some follow-ups. I heard that they were parceled those pieces of land in the greenways by some land barons who are linked to ZANU-PF, and they were warned. So the people become the victims, because those land barons, usually they convince those whom they sell land to that everything is done procedurally. But what I blame is the authorities can notice the moment the people occupy the land, but they fold their hands and wait until they complete the erection of structures, which is very wrong. Like in this case, what I recommend is regularization, or if the land is not suitable for housing projects, they must be relocated to other places which are suitable for those developments.
And just as a follow-up, Comrade Madzorera, when you were councillor, did you ever had such a situation where maybe demolitions were done in your area in Glenview?
No, I last heard about when I was released from prison, the other area in Glenview, but it is not in the ward which I was a councillor. It's in a neighboring ward. The houses were demolished, and the victims were promised that the land will be compensated, including this other popular prophet in Glenview, who is called Prophet Fred. Is one of the victims who had a house demolished in Glenview. But I last heard that there were some promises that they will be compensated.
Well, to those that are just joining us, we are talking to Mr. Tunga Madzorera, one of our liberation victims, someone who spent 8 years in jail, having been wrongfully arrested and then wrongfully convicted of murder in Glenview. But now he is out. But even when he was inside, he managed to write a number of books, and he also managed to do a degree, and now he is studying for his master's degree. What an inspiration. So please, let's share this video with as many people as possible so that they can hear this inspiring story. Over to you, Barbara.
Yes, thank you so much, Chief Shoshe. Yebo mthwakazi omuhle, lapha sikumsakazo we-Change Radio sixoxisana lo Tunga Madzorera, yena engeke ngakhuluma phambilini ukuthi wayebotshiwe 8 years esejele, ebotshelwa icala angazange alidale eGlenview labanye bakhe abangu-29. Lapha ke sikhuluma ngendaba ephakamiselayo kakhulu indaba eyamabhuku, ingwalo zakhe azilobayo esejele ezingu-5. Yizo lezo esizitshengisa zona, ezinye zangkhona zezingwalo azibhalayo. Enye yakhona kuthiwa chipatara nejere kumbe a prison and a hospital. Lapho akhuluma ngezinto ezimbili lezi ezibuhlungu kwele Zimbabwe, ukuthi umuntu angagula angahamba esibhedlela kula mithi, angahamba ejele ukuhlala kwangikhona, impilo yakhona iyabe inzima, akula ziqoko zokugqoka, akula akudla, akula manzi, indlu emele ihlale abantu abalutshwane uthola isigcwele, kumbe abantu bakhona kuyabe kuyi-3 abamele bahlale khonapho endlini eyi-1 ejele. Ngakho siqhubekela phambili ke ngohlelo lwethu sibuza uComrade Madzorera ukuthi yena kuyini okwamenza abhale ingwalo lezi. Wasitshela ke ukuba wa-inspire impilo yakhe ayiphilayo esejele, wakwanisa ke ukuthi afunde abe le degree lakhe lelo aliqalisa esejele, waliqeda sephumile ejele njalo ebonga abantu bonke abaphathisayo yena uthi babengalambi ejele babe smart begcinwa ke ngama-citizens. Wabonga nje abantu abaphetsheya kwelizwe labo ababembhadalela le-school fees bemthengela lamabhuku. Nanko ke amagwalo akhe enye yakhona kuthiwa unplugged cables, yilo ke elinye lezingwalo zakhe ezingu-5. So sisiya phambili, Comrade Madzorera, how can people buy your books and any acknowledgements on people that have helped you in your literature journey?
Okay. I acknowledge all those who helped me in my literature journey. As I said before, it was mainly some comrades in the diaspora and some colleagues locally, including some relatives and friends. The list is endless. So what I did is I managed to list most of the names of those who helped me on the pages of acknowledgements in my books. How I am going to sell those books, most of them will be sold. I will sell the hard copies in prisons and hospitals. And I'm also thinking of selling others online, like through Amazon.
Okay, that's a very good idea. There you are, ladies and gentlemen. Please let's support Comrade Madzorera. I think he's doing a noble job. Because he is saying when I was talking to him, I was so inspired when he said, I don't want to ask for money to sustain but myself and my family, but I want to sustain myself by the sales of these books. So let's support him. Let's promote him. Whenever he launches the book, I think on the launch we are also going to screen it live so that we can see his launch. We are going to support him 100% in launching the books. So you guys, what we only need from you is your support. Please support Comrade Madzorera. He's doing his masters. He wants to pay his fees. He wants also to pay fees for his family. He wants to feed the family as well. So please, let's make sure we buy the books and read and get inspired. And I think, Chief, if I were the government, I was going to take this book and make it a set book in schools, so people will get to learn about the hospital and the prison life. But knowing our government, they would not want people to know what is going on. But I hope when we get into government with the able leadership of President Nelson Chamisa, we are going to use these books, Chief. We are not going, Comrade Tunga Madzorere's labor, you will not labor in vain. And we thank you, Comrade, for writing these books and enlightening us on exactly what's happening in those two houses, especially in Dopanenya. In iroro ndikutoridere Padare nejeri ndorandikutoda kutotanga kutenga iroro. When I was reading my acknowledgements and everything on that book, it's so powerful what you intend to communicate with the people. It's so powerful. I tell you, over to you, Chief Shoshe.
Thank you. And even myself, Barbara, I am, heavily inspired by what he has done. He wrote about 4 books and also managed to do 2 degrees. One when he was in jail, and even out of jail, he has continued to study. And yes, we call upon all Zimbabweans, loving Zimbabweans that are out there. If you want to help Mr. Tunga Madzorera, please do get in touch with him. He is going to give you his phone number before we finish this program. But Mr. Madzorera, I think it will be unfair, and I think it will not be just or not right if we don't throw a question to you about the current situation in our political, in our politics in Zimbabwe, especially the recent developments. Our president, the people's president, resigned, and now we have a triple C that is 3 factions. One that is led by Mr. Timber, who is taking the role of curatorship, as it is explained that he is running things down so that the assets of the party are well taken care of. And we also known recently that Mr. Welshman Ngube is now the acting president of the other triple C. And on the other hand, I think the imposter Shabangu, Sengezo Shabangu, is still in charge of the other faction of triple C. Chaos, chaotic, confusion, and I don't think Zimbabweans are happy about the situation that is currently obtaining. What are your thoughts on that? And as a freedom fighter, what should we do? What should Zimbabweans do to get opposition politics back on track?
Yeah, it is quite evident that the current political spectrum is marred by confusion, as you have said in your question. I personally ceased to be a member of any triple C grouping the moment the people's president resigned from triple C, because it's now evident that it's a carcass, it's a dog's meat. So at the moment, I'm not a member of any political grouping up to until President Nelson Chamisa tells us on the next move, so that the majority of Zimbabweans who are confident that President Nelson Chamisa will deliver them from poverty and will deliver them from the yoke of this tyrant government. The moment he will explain the next move, that's when I will start to be active again in politics, because myself, I don't shift goalposts. I move with the majority, and the majority believes that President Chamisa is the only anointed leader who is able to remove ZANU-PF from power. So that's when I will start to be very active. For now, I am now concentrating with my studies, waiting for the next move, which will be announced by President Advocate Nelson Chamisa.
Mr. Madzorera, you were a councillor before you went to jail. You suffered for 8 years in jail, and you came back. And I understand, I know that you were trying to be councillor again in Glenview, but you were not successful. Shouldn't you be one of the most people who is aggrieved, who is angry? Why is it that even after you did not become a councillor now, you are still calm and collected and still rooted in the liberation struggle and are still, supporting the only hope of the people, President Nelson Chamisa? Why are you not aggrieved like Shabangu?
If we talk about representatives, in fact, if we talk about the deployees of a movement, there's a common victory. That's why even if we hold primary elections, whoever will be representing our movement, it will be a common victory to us. I did not join the politics for personal gains, but I believe that it's a calling, that I must be part and parcel of the movement which will bring freedom to Zimbabweans. So there is no need to be aggrieved. Because, for example, if Barbara becomes a councillor, I know the interests of Barbara are also the same with my interests. It's just the same that I am also a councillor. So there's nothing to be aggrieved of. Otherwise, the opportunities will come. What I can only do is to assist those who will be deployed by the movement I will contribute sort of like literature, like the book which I wrote, The Unplugged Cables, which is a good handbook for councillors and community stakeholders. I can also provide some ideas, because I've got plans to retire in politics after, in the event that I attain a doctorate degree. I want to be an advisor, because everyone should have plans to retire and also pave way for younger ones to take those positions. So there's no need to be aggrieved, because we move together as a team. We are a family with a common cause.
Yes, yeah, those are very powerful words, Comrade Madzorera, because we are seeing now people doing politics of the stomach. Triple C is in shambles now because of people that are only looking at politics with their they are viewing it with their stomachs. They are not viewing it with the eye, that the broader eye, that they want to liberate Zimbabwe from the bondage of ZANU-PF, which is very, very sad. And we hope the new baby that is going to come is going to address all those problems, is going to address the politics of the stomachs, because, you know, I've always said kuti those women chembere dzekuuzumba maramba pfungwe hadzina kumbobvera dzakaita makansela, hadzina kumbobvera dzakaita ma-MP, but you see them are struggling, you see them are putting their lives in danger, supporting the struggle and supporting President Nelson Chamisa with all their hearts, without even them getting anything. They are actually losing it all because they are not being given inputs in the rural areas, because Vano supporter the change. So yes, mashoko makukutu amataura wamadzokere, ende dai Mwari wakuitirai zvakanaka, waramba wachikuvhurirai nzira. Hanzi naMilton Kaufman Marimo, what is the price of a residential stand per square meter? We don't have those answers, because Comrade Madzokere is not a councillor and he cannot tell you. You go to the council and ask kuti imari. Yes, over to you, Chief Shoshe. I think I've done my closing remarks. Any closing remarks, Chief?
No, I mean, I just have to appreciate the camaraderie that we are seeing from Comrade Tunga Madzorera. And I think that's what we want to see. That's what Zimbabweans want to see in their leaders. We call it leadership. What we have just seen here is leadership. And we thank you, Comrade Tunga Mirai, for what you have just said. I hope people are listening. We're going to give you a chance at your last remarks.
Yes, we have lost Chief Shoshe there. Comrade Madzokere, your last remarks before we end this program. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Barbara. But my last remarks are that as politicians, we must put ourselves in the shoes of the general citizenry, the electorate and the general citizenry, some of which are not the electorate, especially considering that they are also children who cannot vote, but whom are supposed to benefit from the services of politicians. So whatever we do, we must consider those people. Nekuti zvinorwadza stereki kuti vanhu vachinge vapedza kuvhota, vanhu vanongotanga kurikoliwa. Is taking that right away from the electorate. So vanhu vanoramba vachitambura. So in what I believe is we must have a strong opposition movement, like what was happening with our President Nelson Chamisa. Inenge ine shungu yekunobvisa ZANU-PF. Not these other groupings who will be fighting to be the best opposition political parties. Because what we don't want is the opposition political party, but the removal of ZANU-PF from power. That's what we are aiming for. So we want people to be serious. If they choose to represent people, if they choose to be political leaders, they must always put themselves in the shoes of the victims of the tyrant, which is the general populace, the general citizenry.
Yes, thank you so much, Comrade Madzokere, for being with us. Please, we we wish to host you again when you launch your book, so that most people will get to know that the book is ready for selling. So that I know a lot of people are going to support you, because what you are doing is like people will be giving you a rod to do your fishing rather than giving you a fish, and we feel inspired by your resilience, by your steadfastness, by your zeal to see an independent Zimbabwe. There you go, our viewers and listeners. We were talking to Tunga Madzorera, an ex-convict, released a political prisoner who was imprisoned for something that he did, a crime that he did not commit, for 8 solid years in Chikurubi maximum prison, convicted for murder that he did not commit, but he remains steadfast. He remained glued in the leadership of President Nelson Chamisa, and he believes one day Zimbabwe is going to be free. Yes, Mthwakazi omuhle, hlangene-ke kuhlelo Padare namba Mushoshe siku-Change Radio sixoxisana lo Tunga Madzorera esitshela ngamagwalo akhe kumbe amabhuku la alobayo esejele phela eChikurubi, ekhuluma njalo lokuthi yena izinto lezi ezenzakalayo, abantu sebesenza ipolitics yezisu, yena kabhilivi kukhonokho. Ubhiliva ukuthi kumele sicabange ngabantwana, kumele sicabange ngabogogo abasemakhaya khonale abangasoze bazuza isikhathi kumbe esokuthi babe ngama-councillors kumbe ama-MP. So kumele sifocuse nini, simelele nini okuzayo, ngoba okuzayo kuzabe kukuhle, okuzayo kuzabe kulungele imuli eZimbabwe, okuzayo kuzayenza ukuthi iZimbabwe ikhululeke. Owenu uComrade Babs, lo Chief Shoshe yena osehambile, lo Stella yena ongemva phela twa crew behind the scene, le Change Radio, umsakazo we-Change Radio, Zim-I, sithi salani ke kuhle, sizahlangana kuhlelo olulandelayo. Thank you so much, and good night.